We're gonna have presentation about Asian financial crisis in 1990s.
Let's enjoy it.
Okay, first of all, in introduction, we're gonna talk about overall Asian financial crisis in 1990s briefly. The Asian financial crisis was a period of financial crisis that gripped much of East Asia beginning in July 1997 and raised fears of a worldwide economic meltdown due to financial contagion. The crisis started in Thailand with the financial collapse of the Thai baht after the Thai government was forced to float the baht due to lack of foreign currency to support its fixed exchange rate, cutting its path to the US dollar. After exhaustive effort to support it in the face of the severe financial overextension that was in part real estate driven. As the crisis spread, most of Southeast Asia and Japan saw slumping currencies, devalued stock markets, and other asset prices, and pretty huge rise in private debt. Indonesia, South Korea, and Thailand were the most affected countries by the crisis. Hong Kong, Malaysia, and the Philippines were also hurt by the slump. Foreign debt to GDP ratio rose from 100% to 167 in the four large Association of Southeast Asian Nations economies in 1993 to 1996, and then shot up beyond 180% during the worst of the crisis. Although most of the government of Asia had seemingly sound fiscal policies, the International Monetary Fund (IMF) stepped in to initiate a $40 billion program to stabilize the currencies of South Korea, Thailand, and Indonesia, economies particularly hard hit by the crisis. The effort to stem a global economic crisis did little to stabilize the domestic situation in Indonesia, however. After the 1997 Asian financial crisis, economies in the region are working toward financial stability on financial supervision.
Now I'm going to talk about International Monetary Fund in Korea. In case of Korea, there is IMF financial crisis happened in 1997. Now do you know what is IMF financial crisis? It means there are more foreign currency debt than national foreign currency balance. In easy word, there are debt to pay in the country. As characteristic of Korea, which is small, no resources, separated and surrounded by China and Japan, dependence of foreign country trade was about 70%, which is higher than other countries, but Korea was experiencing 7% to 9% of rapid economic growth. But why did they have to experience an IMF crisis? As you see, there's a economic flows in Korea of 1990s. In 1989, import and freedom action has taken and import freedom has grown to 99.3, so there was no limitation in 1996. In 1994, there were reform of capital transaction and foreign exchange control as a result of that. Companies easily made loans from abroad, and end of year there were 89.8 billion foreign liabilities occurred. In 1996, Korea has become member of OECD, which is Organization for Economic Cooperation and Development. It made hard to Korea government to take control. Finally, in December 1997, Korea calls for support from IMF. And how to figure out IMF in Korea. For the citizen, they did exercise anabada, which means in Korean, save, share, exchange, and requeue all items, export the worn out clothes, and bring the foreign currency. And the other thing is gold collection movement. Gold collection movement. Korean citizens voluntarily offer their gold to Korea government in order to pay the debt of Korea. For the corporation, put effort on increase the quality, invest for technology development, and labor donate part of salary to company in order to companies could develop and work hard. For the government, during IMF financial crisis, Kim Dae-jung was president of Korea. He thought that IMF financial crisis is not just incident of lack of foreign exchange, but also the structural problem in economy. So he changed the economic policy paradigm to both democracy and market development, made step by step.
As a second case, we are going to talk about Japan's global economy from 1986 to 1991. There was a big event happened in 1940s, and this event brought so many deaths and sorrow. This event was World War II. After World War II happened, Japan's economy was worst case and had hard time. However, Japan could earn so much foreign currency due to Korean War and Vietnam War. Also, Japan got financial support from USA. This reason made contribution to Japanese economic development. Japan's manufacturing business is one of the best in the present, but in 1960s, Japan's manufacturing business was so poor. The world began to pay attention to Japan, and Japan focused on exports in 1980s. Exports led great success to Japan, and Japan's economy grew enormously fast. And Japan's global economy happened from 1984 to 1991. And due to global economy, Japan experienced prolonged recession in 1990s to 2001 after global economic collapse. And Japan's average annual growth rate decreased to 0.9 from 4.6%. Plaza Agreement is fundamental cause of global economy in Japan. Since USA was threatened by Japan and other countries, USA came up with Plaza Accord in 1985. This is an agreement between the governments of France, West Germany, Japan, and United States, and United Kingdom to depreciate the US dollar in relation to the Japanese yen and German mark by intervening in currency markets. If you see this graph, we can see the yen value is decreasing. The yen currency revaluated doubly, huge loss of Japan's exporting companies, and it led to economic depression.
Now I'm going to talk about potential problem of Korea. Letting South Korea firm outperform many of their Japanese rivals in the global market. The nation economy faces mounting challenges, including slow growth and aging population and widening rich poor gap, problems that the country shares with Japan. South Korea industrial giants themselves need to find new business model to survive emerging competition from companies in China and Taiwan, which are catching up much faster than the pace of the Korea firms when they caught up with Western and Japanese Revolt 2013, the growth of South Korea's economy, which relies as much as 60% of export, slowed down even more than the global economy. One major factor is the demographics. South Korea, where the fertility rate is even lower and the population is aging more rapidly than Japan, faces a decline in the working age population, and declining labor input will push down the national growth potential. If labor productivity remained unchanged, South Korea's potential growth rate, which was reported to be around 4% in the early 2000s, and forecast to fall short of 3% by 2020 and fall even below 2% in 2030. In addition to the productivity gap between manufacturing and services, there also is the wide disparity between big business and small and medium-sized enterprises. And now I'm going to talk about potential problem Japan. Japan's economy could be faced with an expected hazard, which is inflation. Rising prices for commodities and energy could hurt private consumption. If Japanese shoppers see their yen not going as far as at the cash register, already sluggish wage growth would compound that. The most natural feedback mechanism take place through improvement in wage and working conditions. Better compensation naturally draws more jobs applicant. The mechanism is already underway. Wages in Japan rose by 0.9% in April 2014, and as partly as that growth rate seems, it is still the highest wage growth in the last 2 years. Any increase in wage has been a positive surprise for the Japanese labor force in the last 15 years. Between 1997 and 2013, average wage in Japan falls by 10.7%. Japanese population is indeed responding to the better labor market environment. Among Japanese working age population, 75.5% were either working or job searching as of 2014, rising from 75.1% a year ago from 74.2% 2 years ago. 1% rise in the labor participation rate within the working age population equates to adding 80 million new entrants to the labor market. And these are our references, and I hope you enjoyed our PPT. Thank you.